Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Macmillan Next Steps Cancer Rehabilitation podcast. Today's podcast is going to be looking at the HOPE course which we run. My name is Heather Benny. I'm one of 2 health and wellbeing facilitators in the team, and I'm joined today by Grace.
Hello.
And 2 ladies who came onto the HOPE course a couple of months ago. That is Jenny.
Hello.
And Sarah. Hello.
Thank you, Heather. So my name's Grace. So I am the other health and wellbeing facilitator in the team. So my background, I'm a registered nursing associate by background, and joined the team at the beginning of last year. Part of our role, so we do the initial triages with patients, we do some one-to-one health and wellbeing bits and bobs, and we also run a series of courses and workshops, the HOPE course being one of them. So the HOPE course is a 5-week self-management programme that was designed by Coventry University with Macmillan. So it is specifically designed for patients who have finished their cancer treatment and are trying to almost figure out what a new normal is, and manage this next part of their lives. We also have a bespoke HOPE workshop, which is for patients who have a terminal diagnosis, but today we'll be talking about the HOPE course. So
Okay,
with that,
dive into the first question.
Yes.
So coming on to 5 weeks of a course, it's covering a lot of different topics, a lot of different areas. Rather than one specific thing. So looking at a little bit around nutrition and sleep and stress and fatigue and body changes, communication, managing uncertainty, looking forwards, bit of goal work. That's a lot to be thinking of. So can you remember what drew you to the course initially and what you were hoping to gain?
Yes, so I spoke to the colorectal team about a scan, and I found I was actually talking quite a lot, so the nurse suggested I got involved with the Next Steps team, and I remember it was Grace that I spoke to.
Oh gosh.
And we were going through options because I've had different cancers before, so I've been on different things.
Yeah.
And I knew one-on-one counselling wasn't really for me. I'm quite settled with that, but I have been in a group workshop before, so I thought I think that's the one for me. So I felt that was a good option. I was a little bit, I don't really know what it's going to be, but the word hope I think encompasses it all, and that's what I needed at the time.
So I have 2 colleagues who had actually been through Macmillan Next Steps in various guises, and I was having supper with them one day and they recommended it, so I did a referral online, and again I spoke to Grace. So Grace has been with my journey through my time with Macmillan from start to finish, I guess now, and when we spoke I was a complete mess. I think that's fair to say, isn't it, Grace? Yeah. Grace could have advised me to go skydiving because it would have been the best thing for me at that time. I would have said, okay. But she had some really good questions to pull out some things, some concerns, and this was one of the things that was recommended. So although I had maybe spoken to various other people about different parts of various things that will affect me, the sleep, the fatigue, the diet, the concerns, the family concerns, hereditary, the whole lot. It was just a complete mess in my head. And so, that's why I was signposted to the course, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Good. And I think, whether it's me or whether it's you, Heather, whenever we first suggest it to a patient, it's I think first of all it's working out actually if it's the right thing, if suggesting it in the first place is the right thing for you, and to feel apprehensive at first is beyond normal, isn't it? Because it's not the everyday thing really, it's not every day that you meet every single week to discuss such emotional topics and subjects with a group of strangers effectively. So yeah, I'm not surprised that at first it's a bit like, okay, this sounds like it might be good, but actually I'm really nervous and I'm really apprehensive because I don't really know what to expect. So, but yeah.
And it has been a little while since you agreed to come on the Hope course. So if we sort of cast your minds back a little bit, can you remember how you felt just ahead of starting on week 1?
You're not going to like mine.
It's all right.
I was a bit jaded. I still am, to be honest, but I was more jaded. It was January. It had been a difficult year. My husband had been unwell, and the colon cancer, as well as kind of having a double mastectomy a couple of years ago. And because I don't mind sharing, but because I was ill when I was 10 with cancer, and it's radiation and chemotherapy that causes all of my issues now, particularly fatigue. So I was impatient as well, and I was a bit fed up. So I did come into the first thing feeling quite cynical.
I was very nervous, apprehensive, because it had been a couple of months after I'd spoken to Grace, so things had sort of started settling down, and from other completely different places, and previous knowledge working with some mental health charities through work, because I knew that was an issue, and there was anxiety and depression and all these sorts of things bubbling under the surface, but not really able to put it into any sort of place. I also knew that I would be probably leaving myself extremely vulnerable throughout the course, and that was a concern, because I had had 30 years of working in a very dynamic situation where I was in full control and responsible for an awful lot of things, and I knew that I would just be open, and I wasn't used to that in any way, shape or form. So for a huge part of my life, everything was just there. I knew what I would do, responsibilities and outcomes, and everything was just organised, and it was nothing like that. I was one of the people that needed the help rather than being the helper, so it was the complete role reversal. So it was really quite scary, but I also knew, because I trusted in what had been said, that it would be beneficial. So yeah, that first day was walking up the stairs at the centre, and I'm thinking, shall I turn around and go home? I sat in the car for about 10 minutes before, and I'm thinking, I don't know whether I'm going to get anything out of this, I really don't. And then another voice would come into my head and said, don't be so stupid, get on with it, it's worthwhile. And it was a bit like that. I just had these voices going on, contradicting themselves. But
I remember though, you did actually, I think you more or less said that when you in the first week.
Did I?
But I think maybe by being so vulnerable, you made everybody else feel better.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for your honesty there. It's really helpful to hear, because actually we do hear that right up until the moment when we actually start, people are still thinking, I don't know about this. What have I signed myself up for? How am I going to be? Is this going to be helpful?
Yeah. You don't want to start crying as soon as you walk in. That's just we were all women of a certain age, and you were all the same. That were kind of fairly, I don't know, sensible. I'm going to say I felt everyone was very sensible in the room, and then we're quite. So it's quite difficult to show that emotion, I think.
Yeah, and the other thing that has always been in the back of my mind was, I wasn't really diagnosed with cancer, and I can remember going to my doctor because I was diagnosed with stage 0, so it wasn't intrusive, and it was always going to be a good outcome for me. I knew that from the beginning, my rational side knew that from the beginning, but not the person that was inside completely and utterly mixed up. So I always felt that I was taking a place of somebody who would need it more, which was really stupid.
No,
Because actually, I think I brought a lot to the party and helped, and that helped me as well as others throughout. But in the back of my head, it's like, your GP has said, you haven't even got cancer because it's not stage 1. And that resonated and still does at times. I still think I've had all this treatment. I've had 4 operations. I've had a complete mastectomy. And even the consultant to start with thought it was ductectasia rather than anything else. And it was purely because I kept saying, I'm not happy with this. It doesn't quite fit, because it was like, half the room of consultants were saying have the mastectomy and half the room weren't, and it was always going to be a good outcome. I didn't have to have any other treatment, no radiation or no chemo or anything else, so I knew I was one of the lucky ones right from the outset. But it doesn't stop the emotions that are exactly the same inside. But to get over the fact that I was taking it as a resource that somebody else could be better using was quite a struggle for me as well.
Yeah, there's a bit of guilt because we've all been to Macmillan fundraising events, and then you're actually the person taking from the charity. I agree with that. You kind of feel, this is not for me, this is for somebody else. But you have to acknowledge it is for you, and that's quite...
Thank you for that. I think it's also an element of the dynamic that comes in of something where, although we talk about different topics, is bubbling under all of them, actually, is that feeling of you being the person having support post-treatment. It automatically can put someone in quite a vulnerable, scary place. And then to put you in a group environment with other people who have different diagnoses, maybe different treatments. I always feel it's important for us at the beginning to mention that actually it is what you're going to take away from it, because there isn't an element of, well, actually I just had this. Because you can have a type of treatment and actually we can't say emotionally how that's going to affect you because it's you.
Yeah.
And I think being really aware of that in a group environment is to sort of, from a facilitator point of view, is cut off that sort of comparison level with someone else and say, well, I shouldn't do this. All the shoulds and sort of rules we give ourselves for that can come into play. So it's something we're definitely aware of from the outset of a Hope course, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. I'd agree with that. Yeah, definitely.
I think it's important for people to realise what they can bring as well.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realise that first day that I was really vulnerable and started just opening up was helpful to the others. You know, so just something like that. And I don't know why that was, because I'm not like that. It was just, maybe it was the excellent facilitation.
What can we say?
I think automatically, I don't know, like I say, I feel a bit of an old hand in all this, but you are in a safe place.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere else
Yeah.
you can be that open or talk about that stuff unless it's with people that have been through it.
Yeah, and I also think that you can talk about it with your loved ones and your nearest, and you get to a stage where you don't want to keep talking.
Or you're protecting them.
Yeah. And being with somebody, a group of people who are in the same position, who do not mind one bit about listening to it 6 times in an hour. Because it's fine to repeat yourself, it's fine to tell your story again. That was extremely helpful because I didn't want to burden those closest to me. I didn't want to be boring. I didn't want to be the person that when you go to see them, you always hear the same thing, even down to what they've had for breakfast or anything like that. And that's how
a lot of
I felt.
people said that though.
Yeah.
I remember one lady in particular, she said she'd almost felt like everyone thinks you're better. And these are the people who are post treatment and you're like saying, but you're not. In fact, I think we were January and I think there was an advert that came on TV about, or it was on the radio, I think it was Macmillan, and like they covered that. They said, oh, everyone thinks I'm fine, but actually I'm not. And the main thing also, so we're completely deviating off the questions, but everyone felt like everyone thought they were better, but everyone is terrified that any little ache or pain or anything is the next round or the next is come back.
Blemish.
That was really, everyone I think felt that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I probably still do, but to a lesser degree. And when you have those thoughts, you're reminded about the tools to move away from that negativity.
Absolutely.
But that's one of those things that until you're in a group of other people who get it and who have had the same worries and similar experiences, it's a really difficult thing to explain to someone who hasn't been through it. So it does feel that sometimes at a time after treatment, when you have less input with healthcare professionals and you're done.
You're okay now.
I think people closest to you, it's their fear and emotions that will come out. So you can say, oh, I'm a bit worried. And people will say, don't be so dramatic, or don't be so ridiculous, you're fine now. But actually, it's often their worries and their emotions. They're not equipped to deal with it. Or they just don't want to hear it. In the nicest possible way.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think at that stage, you're probably more vulnerable when you're having your treatment. Because when you're having your treatment, you've got your next appointment to plan for, to look forward to. Strange sort of wording, but you almost do, because when you're seeing a specialist, there's some reassurance that comes out of that. And every time I went to see the next person, there was a little bit more reassurance, but it's relentless, and trying to do all the daily things around the appointments was fine, because you didn't have anything else to think about, so your mind couldn't wander so much. But when I went in to see my fabulous consultant, I cannot complain about the NHS in any other treatment I've had, and it has been so swift. I know in different areas it may not be the same, but in terms of the cancer treatment that I've received in Gloucestershire and North Bristol, it has been absolutely spot on. But when I went in to see her and she said, you don't need to come back, it was like, oh, that's scary. And you're signing me off, so you don't need to see me. That's good news. I think it's good news. I really think it's good news. What am I going to do? And there was that. And then that came, the next steps came not long after that. And so it gave some support that had suddenly been dropped when it had been chucked at you and you didn't want it to come your way, but it did, and it was helpful at that time. So that was really weird too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes scrap that, not sometimes, a lot of the time, we hear from patients that you feel almost like that level of support just sort of goes off the edge of a cliff. It just suddenly plummets and you feel like you're on your own. And actually you've got the physical side effects from the treatment that you've had that you're trying to deal with and you're trying to navigate. And then you throw in the emotional side on top of that as well. And you do sometimes need just a little bit of help.
Yeah, you don't quite believe maybe it's clear, or you don't quite get that. You almost like to go to the consultant over my inside. It's really quite grim, but you kind of almost need. It's ridiculous, but it's back to the kind of this doesn't feel right, and you need to bring yourself down. But if you go to a consultant or a doctor, they will tell you, and then you're like, it almost takes the worry away. It takes responsibility away.
Okay, so this is quite a big question, okay? And like we said at the beginning, don't feel that you have to overshare, you don't have to share too much, just share what you feel comfortable sharing. But over the span of the 5 weeks, were there any moments where you surprised yourself?
I think we've actually I've almost covered that bit in that last discussion. So I was surprised, because like I said, I feel like a bit of an old boy in this scenario. I was surprised at how much I'd learnt already from previous illnesses, and because I also had heart failure and things. I've kind of gone through the set really. So I was surprised at myself at how I felt quite calm, and I felt I wanted to reassure people. I was just really, I was surprised at how empathetic I was, considering I came in really quite jaded. And actually what it told me is I should maybe live by my own advice that I was giving everybody else. So I'm hearing myself say things and thinking, I don't do this.
Yeah.
But some of it I did, and it made me think, actually I have learned over, because I've also been with Longfield for some stuff, and I thought, oh, actually I have learned quite a bit, but you just need that reset or that reassurance. So to keep that up, not to stop getting support, to acknowledge this feeling is not going to go away. And you, like the nurse suggested, she said, well, I think you do need to talk to somebody. I'm fine, but actually I'm not fine. So it was just nice to kind of think, oh, I have learned a lot, but I think I need to still keep accessing. So somebody was trying to, I don't know who it was, they were saying about going to Charlie's, weren't they? Charlie's and Maggie's. And it's a little bit like, oh, but, again, that's taking away a resource. And somebody said, no, and somebody in the group said, no, you should go. And I'm like, oh, I'm not that bad, though, I'm not that bad. So it's that kind of reassurance, and we all gave each other, I think, that, and I'm telling them, no, you should go. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. It did certainly bring out the hypocrite in you, or you realised that you definitely had the hypocrite. What surprised me most? The confusion that was in my head. So as Jenny says, I felt that I had all the tools. In fact, I think that was something that I said really early on. I've got all the tools that I need in my bag. I can't find them. I'm just searching for the right thing. And this is going to sound negative about the course, but it isn't. It's like there was nothing that was massive. There was nothing that was a huge breakthrough in recovery. And that isn't to put any negativity on the course at all, because there are certain times you need to be reminded of it. You need somebody to put their hand on your shoulder and say, just do this. And like the tasks, what were they called?
Goals.
The goals each week.
Yeah, that was...
Just getting back to basics and doing small things and reminding yourself that actually the small things are the important things. And if you can't remember things, make a list. It's so obvious when you've got everything working and all your mind is linked up correctly, but when it's a complete mess, you cannot get from... You're trying to say the alphabet forward, there's absolutely no way that you could. That's how I felt. I just didn't know which direction to go. So being just reminded of and going through and being told and reassured, and sometimes not even told, but figure out yourself that it's fine. It's absolutely fine to be so tired one day that you just sleep all day. It's absolutely fine if you don't want to cook. These things were never told to me or us on the course, but it was just those basics that actually today I just need to get through today. And tomorrow I'm going to feel better. And actually, if you change your diary a little bit, when you haven't got so much energy or a person takes it out of you completely, that person who drains you, although you still want to support them because you love them, make sure you have something nice. Reward yourself afterwards to build your energy levels up. So there's nothing massive or huge about it, but having that reinforced was so important. And it surprised me how the basics, the true basics that the Hope course comes back to, can be so impactful on making sure that your recovery is as quick as it possibly can be. Yeah, the goals are really actually, like you say, everybody knows you're meant to reward yourself. Everyone knows this. Yeah.
But we don't actually do it.
No, just tell everybody else.
So because you had an obligation that but everyone's goals were very small. You also think was going for a little walk or something, and some people had big goals, and as a group we're like, well, no, let's just bring that down and make it a little bit. And one person, I think one was like, oh, I'm going to buy myself some flowers. That was seemed to be a common goal with quite a lot of the ladies. And one week somebody brought in some flowers because she said she knew that nobody would do that.
Yeah.
And I thought, gosh, yeah. I felt embarrassed. I thought, yeah, you're right.
So mine was hot chocolate at Costa.
Oh,
There are
that's
other
right,
hot
yeah.
chocolate providers out there.
But all the goals were very, very
Yeah.
small, but everyone
Yeah.
did feel the benefit and then talked about how it's hard to get to those goals or how we felt better with those goals.
Yeah, and actually enjoyed it. So if I had gone to a drive-through Costa previously, I would have my drink and have it while I'm driving along. But I found myself parking up, giving myself 20 minutes to go to Costa, get a hot chocolate and truly enjoy it.
Yeah.
And just be in that moment, enjoying that reward, because I'd done something really small, whatever it was that particular week. And yeah, it's amazing how those really tiny things make such a huge difference.
Yeah, and then you had the kind of accountability.
Yeah.
That you had to give up. But can I just point out the worst people at achieving the goals were Heather and Grace. I do remember this every week.
Yeah.
So, Heather, are you eating your piece of fruit?
Yes. And I think, wasn't yours have a nice relaxing bath? This rings a bell.
That was when
I
the
don't-
paint by numbers failed.
Oh, dear, we've got good memory.
I think my numbers are still not done.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to come back to that. Yeah, you've both got a point.
I will say that because we're doing the goals as well, we're nice models of how to treat yourself if you don't achieve a goal.
Right.
Oh, that's a
That's
good
it.
Very
one.
good, Heather.
Well, because it can feel, it's a space where you can either feel you've failed or not done something, and then we're bringing you back again in a week, and then you can be really worried about, well, actually, what if everyone else has done really well and I haven't even been able to do this? And it's a space where you can have a lot more blame and self-criticism come in and knock on the door. And actually, with us modelling most weeks, that, okay, so if you haven't managed a goal, what got in the way, what happened, pick it apart so it doesn't, it feels like you learn from which direction you wanted to go into, what you wanted to try, and then go from there, and build yourself up in confidence of trying things, rather than going, oh, I didn't, I can't, I shouldn't have.
There was quite a lot of problem solving, wasn't there?
Yeah. I think also what you did by doing that was to say it's okay not to, and are you being realistic? Are you actually being realistic? Because at this time in your journey, can you do that? Can you allow yourself to do that, to treat yourself well? Because that's part of the healing as well. So yeah, that was helpful. And it didn't matter if somebody didn't achieve their goal, because you just said, okay, so next week what are you going to do? Even if it's tone it down a bit, it was fine.
But then I think what was more valuable was the discussion afterwards around the table of why you didn't, or how you felt doing it, or what you did instead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jenny. It opens up that something we see quite often on the Hope course is it opens up that discussion where sometimes people come in and they say, oh, I didn't achieve my goal, and they feel really deflated and they feel really down that they didn't. And actually, they have a discussion with the other people in the group and with us, and we say, okay, but what have you done this week? What's your week look like? What's got in the way? What stopped you from achieving this goal? We'll tackle that bit, and then they might go, actually, no, there was something else that I've been wanting to do for ages, and I did do that this week. Or I did accomplish this instead, so actually you might not have gone away and achieved the goal you had originally planned to achieve, but you've still achieved and accomplished something quite big.
There's always something.
Yeah, absolutely. No, 100%. See, we did it on purpose.
You're not going to say it's a strategy.
Yeah. It's a strategy we use in every single course that we do. Oh, okay.
So, how did you feel? I know we've touched on week one and before you start. How did you feel as the course came to an end?
I was actually both happy and sad. Because it's a 3-hour course on a Tuesday, and then that takes my Tuesday out really. But I wrote it down. So in a short time, we'd made some really strong bonds. I felt we were very, in only 5 weeks, we'd suddenly, incredibly invested in everybody's story, and you just you feel quite privileged as well when people share things. There was a person on the course that had lost a close relative, and I found myself just going, God, you're amazing. How do you do this? How do you have cancer yourself and you've lost somebody to cancer? How do you just carry on? So it's that you're just amazed at the people you meet, so you feel quite privileged.
Yeah.
But then I was also thinking, no, this is enough. 5 weeks is enough. I think you couldn't go on any longer, I don't think, because I felt it had done the job. And maybe I didn't feel it until, a couple of weeks, even now. It's sort of still there, that just those, so-and-so said that, or I remember so-and-so did that, so...
Yeah, so I missed the final week, so I only had the 4 weeks, but I'd left my telephone number with one of the group, because there was talk of a WhatsApp chat group afterwards. So it was really nice when I had a message, because I felt a little bit like, oh no, this isn't, it's not long enough for me. I wanted more time. So it was great when the message came through. It's like, shall we meet up? And I couldn't meet up for the first coffee, but
We've had 2 now, and I couldn't make either.
Yeah, I met up for the second coffee, and there was 5 of us there. I can't remember how many was on the group, but there was 5, which I thought was quite good. It was a Saturday morning, and it was just nice to have a general conversation, and not all of it was about recovery. Obviously we wanted to know how people were, etc. But yeah, that was really nice. And so we've still got links, and we still can get hold of each other, so we can still tell a story again if there's something else, you're not worried, because it's still a bit of safety net there. So although I was a bit concerned after week 4, thinking I don't know whether I've quite had enough, it was just nice to know that it...
Okay. And I think in your final week you brought us in some key rings, didn't you?
Yeah,
I did.
I sent
the WhatsApp group a picture, because I put mine on my little teddy bear.
Yeah.
So I can see him every day when I wake up. It's funny, it's not something I would normally do, but I think because you'd given it to all of us, I thought, oh, that's really nice. So it's just a little visual reminder.
Yeah.
So, what impact has coming to the course had on you and your rehabilitation?
Oh, it sounds corny, but I guess I am, as I was at the beginning. I mean, we were going through a very difficult time. But just, I don't know, just the next couple of appointments I've just felt a bit more positive in general. And maybe a bit more listened to. I think that's quite key. It's kind of been heard, I think, is really valuable. Yeah,
because there was a session on the communications with professionals, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And that going away from there was really useful, because we still had appointments, even if it's not about the cancer element, but going to other appointments with different health professionals, and knowing if you're not happy, you need to speak up then, because...
Oh, yes.
Yeah. One of my goals all week was not to add anything else to my diary.
Ooh.
And that was quite a big breakthrough at that point, because I did find myself completely and utterly exhausted. Some of it was my own fault, some of it was for recovery. So to take control over that, I still struggle at times, because if there's work to be done, I want to do it, and then I think I can recover afterwards. If there's deadlines, I'll meet them and recover. I've had quite a nasty injury to my ankle, just as the course was finishing, so it's put certain things back, and fresh air and exercise I've always known is good, and I've always done that, but I haven't been able to. So I've used all the other tools that have been made available to me to remind myself it's okay not to do something today. You can do it tomorrow, and if you physically can't able, don't worry. Swam with turtles. It is absolutely brilliant. So that was great. But just day to day, coming back to, if you're not quite feeling it, bring it back to basics. Do what you need to do. Make sure that you don't have 2 really stressful things in a day if you can space them out. Put something in that is going to make you feel better. Don't see people quite as frequently if they're going to take the energy from you when you haven't got it. So all those things that we should all do naturally, that you forget about when you're in a moment of crisis or catastrophizing, because all those states are only natural, but it's getting back to the rational state so you can function as best you can in circumstances. So
I think maybe I think everyone in the group agreed suddenly you've got to put your health first.
Yeah.
And I think most people in the group, like I said, were all very similar ages. That was something quite unusual to us. That was quite difficult.
Yeah.
I think everyone in the room felt that.
Yeah. And for so long I've said to other people, you can't help anybody else if you don't help yourself.
Oh, I know.
And there's that hypocrite, and it's been there all the time, but actually it is quite a big breakthrough.
Oh, well done.
Good. Well, thank you both for answering all those questions. Because it's not easy. I mean, just like coming to the Hope course in the first place actually is not an easy thing to do. Thank you very much for coming along and sharing today. I think I can vouch for Heather when I say that the Hope course is probably our favourite part of the role that we do. And I think that's just because actually seeing the difference from week 1 to week 5 in people is huge.
Can I just say it was also fun? We're kind of making I think we said quite intense things, but it was actually, we were all able to have a good laugh about little things, very practical, little everyday things. It's important to say, I think.
It was enjoyable. And I used to look forward to it each week. It was almost a sanctuary, a safe place to be. I did look forward to it each week.
Good. Well, we don't usually see people after a Hope course, so it's been absolutely lovely having this time to come and chat with you again. Thank you very much, both of you.
That was
You're very welcome.
Thank you.